Good morning, friends. In the last previous lectures, we have studied about Indian poetics. Okay, Indian poetics means the Sanskrit poetics, which we are considering as the ancient theories in the field of literature, because uh, it is said that Indian poetics is equal to Sanskrit poetics, because Sanskrit was the main and the ancient language of any place. Okay, so the Sanskrit poetics are considered as the divine poetics or divine work. Okay, because these were produced by the ancient Rishimunis and all, which were considered as the holy one. Okay, so the work given by them are also considered very divine, which has the which is said that God has only given them the imagination, and through that imagination only they have created their theories. Okay, in the last few lectures, we have studied about Ras theory, which is considered as the uh, basis of Indian poetics or Sanskrit poetics. According to uh, the research, Ras theory was given by Bharat Muni around 1st or the 2nd century BC. That was considered as the pioneer of Sanskrit poetics. The Ras theory is considered as the pioneer, while the Bharat Muni is considered the pioneer of Sanskrit poetics, even because he has created the theory of Ras theory. Now the second one was given was Dhvani theory. Now this Dhvani theory, it is very important again in the field of Indian poetics or Sanskrit poetics. But this Dhvani theory is being critically analyzed by many of other people, uh, just like Abhinav Gupta and many other people. But the theory of Anandvardhan is our main topic to be discussed in our syllabus. Okay, so we are dealing with the Dhvani theory given by Anandvardhan in his book Dhvanyalok, which is considered as the most important book for Dhvani theory. Okay, let us first discuss about the introduction. In 8th century AD, Kashmir had it a new critical movement and developed the theory of poetic suggestions. Okay, a new critical movement was being started around 8th century AD, and that too in Kashmir. Now, let me tell you that our Kashmir, which is today a debatable place or debatable issue. Okay, but at that time, Kashmir was known as the, we can say, the Swarg of India. Okay, why the Swarg of India? Because that was the place where many Rishi Munis were staying. Okay, whom everyone considered as the Kashmiri Pandits, which were the well known, or we can say the well educated persons in our society. Okay, so every theory, every Sanskrit poetics, every rhetorician is said to be of Kashmir, or we can say Kashmiri Pandit. It was in Dhvanyalok. Okay, Anandvardhan can be considered as the central and significant acharya who, in his book Dhvanyalok, developed this theory. Okay, so it was Anandvardhan who introduced the Dhvani theory in his book Dhvanyalok. This theory is basically a semantic theory about the levels of meaning. Okay, before that, I forgot to tell you that after Anandvardhan, Abhinav Gupta in 10th century AD, he commented on Dhvani theory, which is also a major contribution in this field. Before him, or before every before Abhinav Gupta and Anand Vardhan, Bharat Muni, Bhama, Bhas, Dandin, Vaman, etc. have discussed Ras, Alankar, Gun, Riti, but not Dhvani. Okay, before that, many rhetoricians came, but no one considered or no one discussed about Dhvani theory. Okay, Bharat Muni discussed about Ras theory, Bhama discussed about. Uh, Bhama and Bhasa discussed about Alankar, Gun, Riti, etc. was also discussed, but no one discussed about Dhvani. It was Anand Vardhan's Dhvanyalok which revolutionized Indian poetics, and this was the book which gave the Dhvani theory to the world. Okay. Now, Dhvani theory. What is Dhvani theory basically? Dhvani theory is basically a semantic theory about levels of meaning. The Dhvani theory is nothing but the meaning of any literature. Okay, in Ras theory the sentiments were important, where in Dhvani theory the meaning is important. Okay, uh, the levels of meaning are being discussed about. Okay, now what is this levels of meanings? We will discuss it further. Okay, it inquires into the condition in which word or sentence may give rise to a meaning other than the literal meaning. Okay, it inquires whether the sentence or the stanza is having literal meaning. Okay, every sentence, every stanza, every particular thing has a literal meaning, but beyond that particular literal meaning there are other meanings too. Okay, so this theory discuss about the deep meaning which is being inherited in the literature. This special verbal function is the exclusive province of poetry and the one that differentiates it from the common discourse. This is the thing which differentiates it from any other work. What differentiates? The understanding of the meaning other than the literal meaning from the literature. That is considered Dhvani theory, and that makes it આપણે એમ કહીએ ને કે એ અલગ તરી આવે છે એનાથી ડ્યુ ટુ ધીસ રીઝન ઓનલી, because it differentiates it from the common discourse. Common discourse means, okay, common discourse means generally what is seen, it is different from that. Okay, Anand Vardhan's Dhvani theory is meticulous study of both meaning and emotive context of word. Now this Dhvani theory is the combined study of meaning and emotive context of words, means the words which have emotions in it and the meaning which are embedded in the words. The collective study of both these things is said to be the Dhvani theory. Again I repeat, Dhvani theory is totally different from any other theory. Before Anand Vardhan, many other poets discussed about Ras, Alankar, Gun, Riti, etc. But no one discussed about Dhvani. Okay, Dhvani is the semantic theory. Means what? Semantic means it gives the meaning of the sentence or any word. Okay, the study of meaning of any word or sentence is said to be the Dhvani theory. It is this thing only which makes it different from any other common discourse. Okay, it was in 8th century AD in Kashmir that this theory was being introduced by Anand Vardhan in his book Dhvanyalok. Okay, it is the collective study of meaning and emotive context of words. It is both the study of meaning and emotions which are embedded in the words. These things I repeated just to make it clear that Ras and Dhvani are totally different things. Okay, now about Dhvanyalok. Now let us discuss something about Dhvanyalok. The book Dhvanyalok is been divided into four uddotas. Now, what is uddotas? Okay, in Western culture, we have studied that the books are divided into parts. Okay, the book 1 deals with this topic, book 2 deals with that topic, and any further it is discussed. Its discussion is carried on with number of books. So, uddotas means the parts. Okay, now Dhvanyalok is being discussed or divided into four parts. In it includes first, the first part includes the introductory notes to Dhvani. The introduction or introductory notes to Dhvani. The second one deals with the basic concept of sport. Now, what is sport? We will discuss it further in detail. Here you have to just remember what are the parts or in how many parts the Dhvanyalok is been divided. The first one is introductory notes to Dhvani. Second is the basic concept of sport. Third is the nature of poetry. Okay, and fourth is the types of Dhvani. Okay, so the four parts in which it is divided is first one, the introductory notes to Dhvani, then basic concept of sport, third one, the nature of Dhvani, and the fourth, types of Dhvani. Okay, now let us first discuss about introductory notes to Dhvani. Literature is basically expressed through the medium of words. Literature is, in general, if we take general definition of literature, it means that the expression of everything which happens in our society, in our around us, okay, that is said to be the literature. Okay, so we can say that expression through words is literature basically. Okay, it is a verbal structure. So Dhvani is a verbal structure of words. Okay, no one can hardly dispense with semantics in the discussion of literature. No one can remain without the discussion of semantics in the discussion of literature. So here it is said that in any type of literature, Dhvani is must. Without Dhvani, okay, or rather we can say without meaning, no discussion is possible. In general also, if two friends are having misunderstanding, that is the lack of understanding the meaning of what each friend has to say or has to listen. Okay, so the discussion of meaning is very important in our life too. If we don't understand the meaning of what has spoken by the other person, then that creates misunderstanding, which leads to the breaking of any relation, let it be friendship, let it be any other relation. So the discussion of semantic or the Dhvani, it is very important. Okay, poetry evokes emotion. Now everyone knows that poetry evokes emotion. No linguistic structure devoid of feelings or emotion could explain the poetry. So no structure can be explained without feelings or emotions. Every structure has some feelings or emotion in it. Okay, without it no structure is possible. Okay, Dhvani relates itself to meaning and suggestive power of words. So Dhvani relates itself to meanings. Dhvani is what? The meaning embedded in theory, that is called Dhvani, and the suggestive power of words. The suggestive power means what? The words, the suggestive meaning of the words is said to be the suggestive power of words. Anandvardhan's principle of Dhvani is innate in sport 1. Now, this principle of Dhvani Okay, it has been explained through sport in the second part of Dhvanyalok, that is the uh, basic concept of sport. Now, what is sport? I think we will keep up to this, and yes, we will discuss this in the next lecture. And I hope I'm making you clear the topic very keenly, because if we have any type of doubt in our mind, then this theory will be difficult for you to understand. Okay, so yes, revise what all things we have done in our this many lectures. Okay, revise it, do learn it, do make yourself understand what actually the theories are all about. Okay, and yes, don't forget to comment your name and roll number in the comment section. Okay, thank you, and let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you.